Okay, so in today's class, we'll start with common source circuit with active loads. What we have seen so far is instead of having our, no, instead of no, this circuit, what we have seen so far. Okay, I'll draw it. You have a PMOS here, NMOS here, which is source is grounded. Then this was VI, this is VDD, and this was RD. Okay, this was RD, and this was V0. Okay. So far, this is the kind of common source circuit which we have seen, where RD here is the passive load. Okay, it is a passive component. Resistors, inductors, capacitors are a passive components, right? So instead of using RD, right? So when I'm using especially these amplifiers in case of in ICs, okay, when I use them in ICs, I can't use resistors because resistors will occupy a lot of space, right? So instead of using RD, okay, a resistor, okay, I use something called an active load. Okay, so when I use an active load, active means I use a transistor there, transistor or a diode there. Okay, so that the size of my circuit will become less, and while I'm using this circuit in an IC, no, an IC, okay, building that IC would become much simpler, right? I mean, fabricating it, right? So what I do is instead of instead of using RD, I will use it like this. Okay, this becomes like this. This is VI. This is my NMOS. Here I will have my VDD. Here I will have a current source. Okay, this is V0. Okay, now this is biased in such a way that whatever current is flowing through ID through the MOSFET ID, okay, is always I. Okay, so instead of using an RD, okay, I use a current source which has a current I. The current I will be same as the drain current, right? So the best way to use a the best way to use a current source here is use a current mirror. Okay, use a current mirror. We already saw this. See, this is one of the biasing schemes which we saw earlier, right? You had a source degenerative resistance. The other one is use a current mirror circuit. Okay, so here we are using I, okay, a current source that was actually replaced with another set of two MOSFETs, which will actually behave as a current mirror, okay, which provides constant current through flowing throughout the MOSFET, this MOSFET. Okay, it will ensure that ID is equal to I, right? So when I actually draw the small signal model of this, okay, a small signal model, okay. So it was actually very simple. I have like this. This is my voltage dependent source, voltage dependent current source. So this is Gm into VGS. This is R naught. Okay, this is R naught. And obviously this is plus minus V naught. This is plus minus say Vi if I take. If I take that to be Vi, this is the plus minus VGS. Okay, fairly simple, right? Now, obviously, things you need to observe here is one is observations. Okay, some observations. One is MOSFET is in saturation. Okay, MOSFET is always in saturation. Okay. Uh, Second point is now how do you expect your MOSFET to be in saturation, right? See this circuit which you have seen, this circuit. Okay, it is actually a part of a larger circuit. Okay, it is a part of a larger circuit. Say, for example, I'm using cascading stages of amplifiers, right? Then the cascading stages will ensure that that MOSFET is in saturation. Okay, it will set the value of VGS and VDS. Okay, it will set the value of VGS and VGS and VDS set by the larger circuit. Okay, remember this circuit. Okay, it is actually a part of a larger circuit. Okay, so the VGS and VDS are actually set by the larger circuit in play. Okay, so remember these are actually bias voltages. These are bias voltages, not DC voltages. They are bias. They're not AC voltages. They are bias DC voltages. Third point is, uh, yeah, actually, yeah, the third point is the same thing. Circuit shown above is part of a larger circuit. Okay, it's part of a larger circuit. That is what I wanted to say. So these three observations you should try and understand. Okay, and from this, small signal diagram, okay, I can see it is obviously in saturation region. Then I have to find a couple of things. One is input impedance, output impedance, and gain of the transistor. Right. So for that, copy this. Copy. Paste it here. All right. So from this, if you look in this direction, you will find R in. Okay. And if in this direction, if you look, you will find R out. All right. Then R in is obviously infinite. Okay. You can't see any resistance. It is open circuit. R out is R naught. Okay. R out is R naught. R naught is the is the drain source resistance when the MOSFET is in saturation. Remember, RDS is the drain source resistance when the MOSFET is in triode region. R naught is the drain source resistance when the MOSFET is in saturation region. Okay. Then gain AV. This is simple. It is minus GM into R naught. Okay, GM into R naught. Okay. So there is a term called intrinsic gain. Okay, intrinsic gain. Intrinsic gain is actually mod of AV. Okay, which is basically GM into R naught. Okay, so these three things you have to keep it in mind. Okay, one is Rn is infinite, obviously. If you look at the diagram, you don't find any resistances between the gate and source. So Rn is infinite. R naught here is, R out here is R naught. Okay, and gain is minus GM into R naught. Right, so minus means it is inverting. Okay, so let us do a small problem based on this. I will do a problem. Okay. First one, what you have to find is find the values of GM and R naught. Okay, GM and R naught for the following specifications. For the following specifications. Okay. So what is given? Kn prime. Kn prime is 200 micro amperes per volt square. VA bar, VA prime is 20 volts per micrometer. Length of the MOSFET is 0.4 micrometers. Overdrive voltage is 0.25 volts. Okay. He's also asked what is W such that ID is 100 microns. 100 microns. So this is the question. So three things he has asked to find. Find the width of the transistor for all these given values when the drain current is 100 microamps, and also find the values of GM and R naught. Okay, transconductance and R naught, drain to source resistance. All right. So the first thing is solution. Okay. First thing here is use the drain current equation. Okay. So ID equals to half mu n. Don't write mu n CX naught. I'll write Kn prime. Kn prime W by L into VOB whole square. Okay, VGS minus VT is overdrive voltage. So I'll replace that with VOB. So substitute all the values. So ID is 100 micro, half into Kn prime is 200 micro. W I don't know. I need to find. L is 0.4 micro, and VOB is 0.25 volts. So 0.25 square. Okay. So all the values, from this you can find W as 6.4 micrometers. Okay. Okay, W value I have found now. Okay. Next, I have to find GM value. GM, there is already a formula. Okay. Kn prime W by L into VOB, overdrive voltage. All right. This we have derived earlier. Okay. When we, first encountered transconductance of a MOSFET. Okay. So again, substitute all the values. 200 micro into 6.4 divided by 0.4 into 0.25. Therefore, GM here is 0.8 milliamperes per volts. Okay, don't forget to write the units. Okay, always write the units. Right, so GM I have found, W I have found. The only thing which is left is R naught. Right, now R naught. Okay, R naught here is actually VA mod VA by ID. Okay, but remember here, in the question it is given, it is VA prime. VA prime is 20 volts per micrometer. So it is actually a function of length also, right? But the formula we use here, VA is simply in volts, not in volts per micrometer, right? So this value is in volts. Okay, right. So what I do is I find VA as VA prime into length. Okay, so that will get rid of that per micrometer. Okay, that will get rid of that per micrometer. So what I do is VA is how much? 20 volts. 20 volts. So 20 into the length is 0.4. So this will turn out to be 8 volts, right? So this is actually 8 divided by ID. ID is 100 microamperes. So therefore R naught here is 80 kilo ohms. R naught here is 80 kilo ohms. And since we have already found GM and R naught, okay, you can find out the gain also. So you can write voltage gain as AV equals to minus GM into R naught. So that should give you 64 volts per volts. Okay, 64 volts per volts. That's it. This is your problem. Okay, I hope this is clear. Right, I hope this is clear. Simple problem. All we did was find the width value, find the drain, find the GM value, and find the R naught value. And the circuit diagram for this is actually very simple. Circuit diagram for this is actually very simple. Right, it is the one which we saw earlier. So VI, this one, and no RD here. So we had I here. This is VD. This was your circuit diagram. Okay. I hope this is clear. You don't have any queries here. Okay. A small exercise for you. This is the same problem. Repeat the problem. Repeat the problem for L is equal to 0.8 micrometers. Okay. Okay, this is up to you. This you have to do. Same process. All you have to do is replace L with 0.8 micrometers. Okay. This is an exercise problem for you. Right. So this is what active load is. Active load is replacing your RD with a current source. Okay, a current source which has a current I, and the current I has to match the drain current of your actual amplifier. Remember the MOSFET which we have drawn here. Okay, this MOSFET is the actual amplifier, right? So whatever current flows through that MOSFET should match the current in the current source, right? So what we'll do now is, okay, we'll replace that current source with an actual current mirror. Okay, and this current mirror is actually made up of PMOS transistors. Okay, it is made up of PMOS transistors. So next topic is common source circuit with active loads, but this time using CMOS implementation. Okay, so next topic, CMOS implementation. CMOS implementation of common source amplifier with active load. Okay, so this is our next topic. I can assure you from this topic onwards, this course will start getting tougher. Okay, so if you have any queries, you do let me know. Yeah, who's that? Mute your mic. Yeah, so from here onwards, it will start getting slightly tougher because the analysis which you do, okay, it will become more and more complicated. So try and keep up. Okay, and also I've already shared all the materials with you. I've shared you the textbook. Don't worry. Try go through it. Don't neglect this course. This is actually our toughest course in this semester, right? So from now onwards, try and keep up. Okay, right? So CMOS implementation of a CS amplifier with active load. So here your active load is actually a PMOS transistor. Okay, a PMOS transistor which is connected in a current mirror configuration. So how does the diagram look like? Okay, Let me draw it. Okay, I have VDD here. This is also VDD. Okay. This is a NMOS for which Vi is given. This is V0. This is ground. And here you have Iref. Okay. So I'll call this transistor as Q3. This I will call it as Q2. This I will call it as Q1. Q3, Q2, Q1. Right. So okay. So something you want better you want to observe. Okay. One is Q2 here is the active load, which I was talking about. Okay. And remember, it is PMOS. Okay. It is PMOS. Q3 and I reference. Q3 I reference forms the current mirror. Okay, forms the current mirror. Q3 and I reference forms the current mirror. So for Q3, if you take Q3 into picture, it's VGS3 and VDS3 are same. Right? Why? Because gate and drain are shorted. So VGS3 and VDS3 are same. Okay, and I've put mod because it is PMOS. Another thing is whatever I reference is flowing, okay, that will be same as IQ2. Okay, means the currents in both the branches. If your Q3 and Q2 are properly matched. Okay, if Q3 and Q2 are properly matched. Then I reference, which is same as I reference, which is same as IQ3. Okay, will be same as IQ2, which is same as IQ1. And remember, Q1 is the actual amplifier. Q1 is the actual amplifier here. Okay. Understood the points here. One is Q2 acts as the active load, which is PMOS. Q3 and I reference, right? They behave as a current mirror. Okay. Q3 for Q3, VGS3 and VDS3 are same. Its corresponding VGS and VDS values will be same. Why? Because gate and drain are shorted. Okay. Next, whatever current is flowing through Q3 will be same as I reference. And if your Q2 and Q3 are properly matched in the sense width length ratios are same. Width length ratio are same. Right? If the width length ratios are same, then whatever current is flowing through Q3 will be the same current flowing through Q2 also. Q2 and Q1. Okay. Right. And obviously Q1 is the amplifier here. Okay. Why? Because you're giving the input at the gate of Q1 and taking the output at the drain of Q1. Okay. So these are the nodes which you must observe. Okay. So second thing, if I look at Q2 alone, before that, if I look at Q2 alone, I'll copy the diagram. This diagram I'll copy it because we'll be referencing this circuit a lot. Copy. Okay. Now, if I look at Q2, only Q2. Okay. If I assume, say, the voltage across this, I assume the voltage across this to be, say, some V. Okay. And the current which is flowing through this is some current I. Okay. I'm considering only Q2 here. Okay. I'm assuming I and V are current and voltage across Q2. Okay. So if I draw this curve, if I draw right. So if I take this as I and this as V. Okay, I'm drawing this I versus V. Okay, this will actually look like this. Okay, this will actually look like this. Remember, this is actually the IV characteristics of Q2. Okay, it is the IV characteristics of Q2. Then in that case, see, obviously when Q3 Q3, I'm talking about Q3 now. Q3, the gate and drain are shorted, then which it makes Q3 saturated. So the saturated current which is flowing through Q3, that is nothing but I reference. Now this I reference is also flowing through Q2, all right, which makes the saturated current of Q2 as I reference. So this value is I reference, all right, and this value, okay, this is the limiting condition for Q2 to enter into saturation region. So that is mod VGS2 minus VTP. Okay, mod VGS2 minus VTP. So this region is actually triode region of Q2. And this region is actually saturation region. Okay, triode region and saturation region, right? So obviously when VDS, see, when I write this as V here, okay, you can say that V here is actually VDS2, right? Because I'm measuring mod VDS2. I'm measuring V across the source and drain of Q2, right? So obviously it is mod VDS2. So this is actually mod VDS2. Mod VDS2 to indicate that it is of transistor Q2. Okay, right? So so obviously this is a I versus ID versus VDS curve. Okay, your drain characteristics of Q2. So obviously the maximum value of current which you can get is I reference, and it appears only after the minimum condition for the Q2 to enter into saturation region, which is VGS2 minus VTP. Okay, so this in mind, what we'll do now is we'll draw the same thing for Q1 now. Okay. After drawing for Q1, and I'll merge these two graphs such that I get a VTC curve. Okay. I'll pause this video for now. Okay. Kindly join back again. The time is almost, it's only 5 minutes are left. I will not be able to complete this. So join back again.